Well, if you just tuned in, we are broadcasting from the CSIR in Pretoria, and we are talking about the third International Science Forum that is taking place. Now, this year's event is held under the theme, Igniting Conversations About Science. Whether we like it or not, science is an integral part of our lives and possibly the most important part of our future. Because if we do not get onto this bandwagon of the fourth industrial revolution, and if we as a continent do not develop and adapt technology into our lives and science into our lives, we're going to be left behind that massive wave that is whisking the rest of the world up. So it's something that is definitely on show here as you do walk through and take a look at some of the stands that are on display and some of the products as well. Let's talk a little bit now with the Director General of the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Jwara, who is, of course, key to all of this and the event that's taking place. Good to see you, DDG. Thanks so much for talking to us.
No, thank you very much and welcome to the viewers.
Well, we talk about this science forum growing, and this year, I mean, I was telling you, just walking around, I could see from last year the difference in the stands and those exhibiting. It's growing and the standard is getting higher. You must be quite happy this year.
Yes, we're very, very happy. As you say, it's about igniting science, it's about inclusivity, and it's also about showcasing the science that we do in the rest of the continent. And therefore, of course, we have more exhibitors this year, but we also have a big focus on science and inclusivity. In your opening remarks, you've talked about the fourth industrial revolution. I don't know how many of us in South Africa and the rest of the world fully understand this. And I just want to give you one example about why a forum like this is important, where we ignite conversations about science. I recently visited a polytechnic in Turin, in Italy. And they were showing us a technology where they're manufacturing engine parts, the blades for the turbine. And they were telling us that because of digitalization, so it's ICT and rapid manufacturing, 3D printing as it is known, for an engine that needed 852 parts, they can produce the same engine only 50 parts.
Wow.
What does it mean for the people who are producing the other 800 parts, as an example?
Yeah.
So the whole sub-industry and the supplier industry for that aircraft industry is wiped out. So unless we begin to internalize what these new technologies mean for the society, and we start to invest appropriately in those technologies, we will be left behind.
Yeah.
And then secondly, we in Africa will probably be worse off unless we start now to think about these things.
Yeah. It is possibly the most important conversation we have to have at this point, because what you're talking about, and South Africa is. I remember visiting Airbus, and it was one of those things that we were so proud of, that South Africa contributed this one part to this aircraft, and it created X amount of jobs. But like you say, these jobs are going, and if we do not begin to develop this technology, which we are doing, and we cannot say we're not doing it, but are we doing it fast enough? And that is the problem.
We think we are. One of the building blocks, of course, of the Industrial Revolution is the ICT technologies. And I think in South Africa we have a vibrant group of institutions that are investing in these ICT technologies. The second one is the artificial intelligence. There are a number of universities that are doing artificial intelligence. The third one is how we're investing in nanotechnologies. The other one is areas of neuroscience. And it's the convergence of all of these technologies that are going to make us to be part of the fourth industrial revolution. I'm going to give you one specific example. Across the road here at the CSIR, we have a project called AeroSwift. It's a project between the National Laser Center here at the CSIR together with a company based in Centurion called AeroSuit. They have already manufactured parts which are manufactured not by assembling parts, but using laser and powder and melting the part into a completed part. And these parts are now being tested by AeroSuit and Airbus, more than the one that you saw. So this is one example of the work that we're doing. We're also looking, you saw at the CSIR, a nanotechnology center that is beginning to work with the private sector industry to modify, for instance, how you produce paints and how you produce clays for the building industry. So we think that we have the building blocks. I can give you examples in health, I can give you examples in other areas of ICT where digitalization is already, I think, in South Africa showing that we need to do things differently.
What about research and development? Because we do know that government is one of the main funders, and you guys really do. I mean, you assist and try as much as you can. However, there's the private sector, and it's a bit of a worry. Are they investing more? Or do we need to see more help from the private sector coming in so that we can see South Africa developing this industry, which is so needed?
Are we happy with the amount the private sector is investing? The answer is no. But are we seeing positive signs? The answer is yes. We, as you know, have the very generous research and development tax incentives, which we administer together with the National Treasury, as well as our colleagues from SARS. And we are seeing a huge uptake of these R&D tax incentives now from the private sector, which means that they are investing in R&D, and that's why they're claiming more research and development tax incentives. 2 years ago, we introduced something which we call sector innovation funds. So these are funds where government work with industry associations in specific sectors, whether it's in agriculture or whether it's in forestry or winemaking, for instance. And what we've been doing is to ask the industry to indicate the problems they have, and then we match-make them with the institutions that are part of the national system of innovation, whether it's universities, science councils, to say, can you then solve this problem? The third example is the work that we're doing, for instance, together with the CSIR, the Chamber of Mines, to look at how we can really modernize mining. So for these sector innovation funds, what we've found is that for every rand that governments invest, the industry comes with about 45 cents in average. So I think there are signs that industry is beginning to realize that they also need to invest in research and development. But as I say, we would like to see more, of course.
Yeah, we certainly do. And I think as soon as you put that plan into action, that you can actually see some of the great work when it comes to marketing, particularly here where we're standing, the CSIR, and the work that we're doing. I think the private sector will be pleasantly surprised and hopefully, if my predictions are right, throw money at it. So that's the hope. It's always such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for being our guest. Good luck with the next 2 days here. The Director General of the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Phil Jwara. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
All right, we take a break. We've got more guests after this. Do stay tuned to Morning Live.